What is up, my dudes? Today I have made a freaking Scratch game. I've made awesome tanks in Scratch. Can you believe it, guys? This was all made in Scratch. So, one question that you may have as a viewer is, well, what can I do with this game? Well, for one thing, you can play it. I mean, that's the obvious answer. You can play it as much as you want. There's 8 levels, as I said. I'll add more later, so that's one thing. If you want to make your own levels, go ahead and click level editor in the main menu, and you can go ahead and design your own freaking levels. You can put things wherever the heck you want. There's no freaking issue. Alright, so now we're going to get into the modding aspects, because I know that people are probably going to be talking about this game, and they're going to be saying, oh boy, how do I mod this game? I want to add my own tanks. I want to add my own features. Alright, well, the easiest thing to do is go ahead and open it up. Alright, so the first thing you're going to see is this empty sprite. This empty sprite has nothing in it except for a bunch of sprite references or a bunch of pictures I used to make the game. Alright, nothing important. So, depending on what you want to do, but I'm going to split this into sections. First thing you might want to do is, well, change the player up. Okay, and we'll go into the player sprite. Now, things might be scattered a lot everywhere, but the main thing you got to remember is that everything is organized in a disorganized way. Alright, you got the different buttons to upgrade to different types. You got helper functions for everything, so absolutely nothing is complicated. Um, and nothing is really blocked off here. Like you can change this here, and then this will always change the tank class to shotgun. If you move this here, then it has to be part of your purchased weapons. So it's pretty simple. Um, but anyway, what might you want to do with the player? Well, maybe you want to change the health up. Okay, go to load level right here. This little event function. You see, max vis HP is actually just max HP. All right, it's the same exact thing as max HP, but you got to set both the actual HP and the max HP at once to the same exact number. So this is what I did. All right. Alternatively, you could even set max vis HP or set the player XP to match max vis HP so that you don't waste any more space or whatever. So that's easier, and then you can just change one value here. Alright, simple. Very simple. You see player armor upgrade, that's a value that goes from 0 to 5, I believe, depending on how much upgrade your player's gotten. Alright. Now, so yeah, you can change the player HP wherever you want. That's pretty much it. Alright, so then what if you wanted to add a new tank class? Okay, so I'll lead you through doing that. Okay, so let's say I wanted to add a tank class that's, I don't know, maybe it looks like a railgun. So I'd search up a railgun awesome tanks reference. Alright, and I'd check it out. I'd see that it looks kind of like this, so I can just make a minor little diagram or whatever here. I can make a freaking shape. Make another shape, like going out of that. Then need two like darker shapes. Okay, mess that up, but it doesn't matter. Just do that. Okay. Then you click this here. You go ahead. You click outline. You check the outline here. Make sure that's 5 wide. You go ahead and do the same outline for this. I don't know if you could really copy and paste the values, but I'm not going to test it. This here. Click some more. Be sure to click the right color. Okay, so that might be a freaking railgun, right? Not the best looking one. Now you put that there. Just make sure that it's more or less aligned to the center here, because that's where the player's going to turn with. But I can see that it's a bit off-centered. Like the center of it is actually where the crease is between the two things. So it might be more like that. You might want to shorten it a bit. You might want to make these a bit wider so that it fits the proportions of the original a bit more. Okay. You might want to maybe make this curved. I don't know. You can use Scratch's tools to do such things. Like so, and then just organize that. There we go. Okay, so this is the railgun. So I would name it in there just for simplicity. Then I would go over here, and now you got to go ahead and define tank class equals railgun. Then you set player tank type to railgun. Now make sure that the naming is pretty much the same as the costume, because that will make sure that your life is a lot simpler. Okay, so now what I can go ahead and check out here is that I can see here player damage is being set to 3 for the railgun. So you probably want it to be a lot higher than that. You probably want it to be the cannon, I believe, does it relies on explosion damage. You can see right here, enemy bullet, player bullet ID. So this is 50 damage for the cannon. So you probably want a bit more for the railgun, or at least practically the same. So maybe 60 damage. If you wanted it higher, you can do that. Player shot cooldown seconds. Now this is actually the value that makes sure that your cooldown is set to whatever. So I would set it to maybe, maybe 2 seconds. Maybe or maybe 1 second, maybe. Okay. So now you load it up. Um, Load into any level. So you may notice we don't actually have access to it yet. So that's why you gotta go into into these, where it says 1, 2, 3 pressed or whatever. So you know that there's 4 weapons, so you just duplicate the 4th listener, then you set this to 5. Check if purchased weapons contains railgun, but of course let's just move this here for now, so that we can just become it at any time. So then we click 5, and we realize that boom, we're in our little railgun. Boom, easy. So now, if you click the press button or the shoot button, it might not shoot anything. So the way to fix that is that you have to go into player bullet. And in here, you have to actually check and make sure that it's going to spawn a bullet. So actually, something important that you want to know is that for the railgun, obviously, it's got a laser, right? It looks like a laser, except it's a very short-lived one. So what you're going to want to do is probably the same thing as laser. Draw a laser with this helper function. Speed can stay the same. Create bullet can stay the same. That should all be fine there. So now if you click it, you should see, and hopefully this works. Yes, it works. So now you see we can instantly destroy stuff. And you see that the laser shows up for a little bit of time, like sometimes. I mean, I think I saw it once. I don't really know. Yeah, it showed up there. So the thing is that the laser actually needs to render for a few more frames. So the easiest thing to do here would probably be to, I mean, if it was me, I would click this. I would take in a forever loop. I would check if it's a railgun yet. I would make sure that the mouse is down. Although you probably want to do ands because both of these conditions got to be satisfied, not just one. So yeah, do that in this little script. Now we make sure that it's railgun and mouse is down. Now, if not railgun and mouse down, then you want to, not do anything. But while you're actually doing that, you're gonna want to render the laser. You're gonna want to render it for at least 2 seconds. So actually, it might be that this is a bit. Well, actually, what I could do is this: just do repeat 10. Do that, and then you could do the wait block like I did before. This will make sure that it renders it for a couple of frames before it stops. Go ahead and go back to level 1, check out your razor, whatever. And it did not work at all. Okay, well, this is good information. Maybe 10 isn't enough, so you change it to maybe 200. Try it again. Still doesn't work, so then we have to check that railgun is actually the right player type. Yes, it is. It's railgun. Is mouse down, most likely. So what can I think this problem might be? I'm not exactly sure, actually. I have to check. So I'd have to debug it, so let's go ahead and check this out. Let's see. Yeah, so you see that it renders for a bit, then it disappears. It might be because it's supposed to be listening on the render frame, because if not, then it disappears instantly. So what I would do is that I would go ahead and I would go into render. I don't think I have a listener for that yet. So I'd go render right there, and then I'd go draw laser. As long as the time is currently under the freaking threshold time or whatever. So it would be railgun and laser render time or whatever. You put in a random thing for it. It doesn't matter. So you put that in there. Go ahead and take the little value, make sure that it's less than, do that. Railgun ends laser time. We're just going to go ahead and make sure that railgun ends laser time is set to timer plus a certain number, because that's actually how it works. You go ahead and make sure that it's timer plus however many seconds. Let's say 1 second. So then there you go. Actually, we don't even need this anymore because this is useless now. So you could just put this little thingy into here. There you go. So then it should work perfectly. So you go to level 1, go to this, and it doesn't work. Well, that's perfectly fine. What we got to do now is go ahead and examine what the hell is going on. So you go ahead and you go into laser checker, whatever the heck it is, where it renders the laser. See right here, it's pretty simple. Goes to player, repeats until touching enemy. So you see, it's not really rocket science. It should be simple. Uh, so what can I think this is? Railgun and laser time. Yeah, that should be right. Oh, right. It's because these are separate clones. And, well, actually, no, that should be fine. I think. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because it's rendered, but not for every bullet. I mean, that might not, it's probably not the issue, but I'm going to just make sure that it works. Because basically the issue is that it needs to be a clone, or sorry, it needs to not be a clone in order for it to render properly, I think. Alright, go back here. Nope, doesn't work either. Now I just got to make sure that I'm working the right sprite here. Oh, wait, yeah, it's player bullet. Okay, so let's try restarting it again. I don't know, maybe this fixes it. Oh, would you look at that? Yeah, I mean, a little bit. So actually, it does render it. I mean, it's a bit astonishing. I guess that it was limited by freaking tiles or something. So yeah, it does actually render it for 1 second. So perfect. We actually got the behavior we wanted. We can do 0.3 seconds because that's more accurate. Yep. So then we got our little laser, whatever. You know, it does it sometimes. There we go. And for another thing, if you wanted to actually penetrate multiple enemies, then you have to actually configure the behavior. So I believe that each bullet actually has a type, or it memorizes what the type was. I believe it does, anyway. So let's see. Bullet ID, found old entry, create bullet. Yeah, that's not it. Okay, get final player damage. You know, it just sets actually the player damage. Yeah, so that's not gonna work. But what we can do is that um, we can just fix it up. So first of all, I'm gonna fix this little issue here so that it's also not railgun, because the railgun and the laser bullet, they shouldn't be showing. So you do that. Okay. And then down here, I believe. Okay, so it's gotta be in, I think it's in check collision actually. So I think what it currently does is that it just sets it to dead instantly if it hits anything, as you can see here. So what I would probably do is, given that it already sets it to dead once it crosses the border right here, I think that what I'll do is that I'll actually just make it so that if the type is railgun, then it just doesn't do that check at all. And this may be a bit of a cheap solution that may cause issues, but I'm just going to do this for now. So then you reload it. Here. Okay, now this should penetrate multiple things. Ready? Here we go. It didn't work. Okay. Oh wait, did it? Yeah, it didn't work, I think, because it's probably looking at the fact that it's dead or something. That might be it. Probably is the fact that it's dead to everything else. So Okay, I've got a separate solution. Alright, so the other solution is actually just to go ahead, replace this old thingy. What you're going to do is check if player type is railgun, or not, rather. Then you're just not going to set it to dead. Um, yeah, so you're just going to go ahead and go... Oh, wait a minute, no, because this is for the... This is colliding with another bullet. Yeah, so... Actually, this is not right. I believe that... I don't know actually where the hell the freaking thing is kept track of. Let's see. Player bullet dead. Oh, yeah. Alright, maybe it's set by other things, which makes this a bit more annoying to implement. But, hey, we're here for a while, or at least I am, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fix it. Go into Tile, go into, uh, check for collisions. Might be around somewhere. Oh, yeah, I can't find it. It's probably up here. No, not up here. Okay, no, that's not it either. Okay, go down here, down on here. Okay, no, that's not it. Okay, down over here somewhere. Nope, nope. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's not it either. Yeah. Okay, this here. Oh, nope. No. Okay. No, that's not it. Oh, wait, is this it? No. Okay, so that's not it either. Probably so. No. Nope. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty nice. I can't find it absolutely anywhere for some freaking reason. So we're just gonna go ahead and keep looking because that's the only option I have here. So I'm just gonna keep looking around for the freaking function that tracks damage. And it appears like it doesn't actually process any damage. So if we go ahead and look around, we see that it actually doesn't do that. So maybe it relies on player billet to do it. Alright, so then let's go ahead and actually let's take serious mode. All right, serious mode. All right, check bool collide IDX. Yeah, that's actually checking for something else. All right, I think check bool collide IDX. Yeah, that can't be. I mean, what the hell? Tank HP, player bullet dead. Uh, player bullet. Oh, oh, it's because it's looking through all of them. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it. Okay, so actually I was right before. So you just do this, this. Okay, great. Copy this condition, go into if, here, here. Okay, go here, here. Okay, there we go. And now it should actually not die anymore as a railgun bullet. Go to 1. Click this 5 button and oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? It's a railgun now. Destroys everything instantly. Yep, that's what we wanted to see. Alright, so there we go. So that's how you add a railgun into the game. I mean, this is obviously a very simple railgun. But I mean, it's pretty cool. Even if sometimes it's a bit broken. I mean, it's still pretty cool. I mean, come on now, you gotta admit it. Look at that. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty dang cool. Alright. So yeah, that's how you add a little railgun or whatever. So you added a railgun, right? What if you wanted to add uh an enemy railgun? Okay, go to enemy, copy this color here. Group this, whatever the hell. Copy. Is there not a copy button? Ooh boy, there's not a copy button. I mean, it's probably because of this. Alright, there we go. Copy. Go to enemy. Go to rockets or whatever. Paste it in here. You're gonna want to choose a color for it. I guess I could go for whatever the hell the original color was. Looks like it's a bit. It's blue? Thought it was purple. No, it's not purple. No, it's like a lightish blue color. Alright, yeah, it's like a bit darker blue than the laser. It's like maybe like that. I don't know. It's a bit darker than that, I believe. Yeah, okay, it's somewhat like that, I think. Alright, yeah, that should be fine. So there's a laser. Okay, now just copy this other body of this other tank because we're going to use that as a base. copy the original color from here, paste it in there, I believe, and then get the darker color from over here, and then just paste that in like so, and there you go. So now you got the railgun body and the railgun head for your enemy. So in order to actually add it to the game, well, all that you actually gotta do, it's pretty simple. You just go ahead, check it out up here somewhere. Uh, let's see, wherever it says set type, which is right here, go ahead and copy this last block. And then you just put that right there. Check if it's railgun. And then shot cooldown seconds, I guess, can be 1 as well, because, you know, maybe a bit longer because it's an enemy, so maybe 1.7 or maybe 2, but I'll set it to 1.7 right now. So the one issue that you may think about for right now is that the same stuff that you coded in player bullet actually has to be coded a second time for enemy bullet, because the way I coded it just makes it that way. So my apologies, but it shouldn't be that bad. All right, because you already know how to do it once, you can do it again. All right, so now we go here. We're gonna know that, or we're gonna notice that our new railgun enemy isn't actually gonna spawn. So what I'm gonna have to do to demonstrate this is probably just add it to the spawn pool temporarily, just to make sure that everything works out. So we go to level 3 enemies, just remove the second one and add in railgun instead of cannon. And that way we can check if it actually works. So go to level editor, then check for the level 3 spawner that we just changed the pool of. Toggle edit, there we go. Oh wait, this thing's still working, interesting. Alright, so there our railgun has spawned in. So now we can go ahead and check if it works by shooting it. And it shoots nothing, as because to be expected, because, well, we haven't defined what it's supposed to shoot yet, so it doesn't know what to shoot. So that's to be expected. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is that you're going to want to actually add something to shoot for it. So we got to go and we got to check where it's actually shooting stuff. So where it's shooting stuff is probably right there, as you can see, last fire time. And then it says bullet summon tank queue, which is being processed right here. And it's checking for the type, and it sees that there's no railgun, so it skips it. So what I'm going to do is actually add in the railgun as a type here. So you just add that to the end, switch costume to, well, no, you don't gotta switch it because it's just a railgun, which it doesn't matter what it looks like. Set damage to 60, I believe. Speed should be the same as the laser, so 35. Life should be non-existent because it's not a rocket, so it doesn't need life. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, that should work. So now they should be shooting me by now. Oh no, it's because it's turbo warp, so I gotta restart it. Okay, level editor. Put in this other spawner. Toggle edit, and now we can make sure that these guys actually work properly. And yep, he's shooting me. Ooh, and he does a lot of damage. Just like that, I'm dead within 2 shots. So we actually gotta nerf his damage, because that's way too much damage. Alright, way too much. And for another thing, we actually gotta make sure that our freaking script for rendering the laser is actually working properly. Because currently it seems like it's not working properly, which is no bueno. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and see here. Oh, if timer is less than railgun ends. Oh yeah, so the only thing that you gotta do here is that you're actually gonna want to set this to 0 when the game first starts, and that way everything will be fine. I'm actually gonna set this into a separate script just to make sure that everything works perfectly fine, is that it's organized or whatever. There we go. All right. So yeah, we gotta nerf the enemy because that was way too much damage. So you just go into enemy bullet, you just go to damage, you lower it to maybe 30. There we go. So now they do less damage. And in order to make it render the laser, well, you see here where it says laser, you see there's suspiciously absolutely no render laser script. Well, that's because this thing, since it's handled on a clone by clone basis for the enemy bullet, that means that you can't quite delegate the task to the big macho man at the top of everything. I think so anyway. But I'm gonna go ahead and check what is actually happening here. Alright, so yeah, Render Lasers is actually the big macho man we gotta look at here. This is the guy that's actually making sure stuff's getting done. Checks for every tank, checks that it's a laser, and then it just freaking renders its laser no matter what. So actually that's probably an issue because, well, as you can probably guess, it's gonna be rendering that no matter whether or not it's shooting. So the other way to fix that is to make there be a little tank thingy. So you go ahead and add tank is shooting question mark. Okay, there we go. So tank is shooting is actually what we're gonna use here. So you are going to want to do item render laser IDX of tank is shooting, and then you check that that's true or equal to 1, doesn't matter. Probably 1 is better. So do that, make sure it's and there you go. So now, okay, actually no, let's do something else first. It's actually should be like this. You do if on top of that, and there we go. It's probably better so that we can just chain them. Get rid of these things that are doing nothing. There we go. Alright. Now here, we're gonna want to later on add the railgun to that, but for now we're gonna want to make sure that we actually implement the detection. And in order to do that, all that we gotta do, last fire time, um, we see that this is actually what tells you whether or not it's shooting. Um, yeah, literally just if it's targeting the player, that means that it is shooting. But we actually want it to be shooting and the bullet is still alive. Like, that's the entire shorthand, what we're doing here. So in order to do that shorthand, we're going to probably want to specifically set this only for the railgun for now because it's easier. So we know that the railgun starts shooting wherever the hell the shooting script was. I believe it was an enemy bullet. Here it is. So we're going to want to go ahead and we're going to want to set set or replace the item. But before we do this, we're going to want to register it because if we don't do that, it's going to be a mess. So go to the clear everything script right here, clear colon registries. Go to tank is shooting and be sure to delete all of it so that it's nice and clean every single time you start up the game. Okay, now here you're going to want to actually then add in 0 to tank is shooting because now it's actually registering a new tank. It needs to know whether or not that tank is shooting. It needs to have an entry. Okay, so now we have that in. So now we go to enemy bullet again. Inside of tank is shooting, we're going to want to actually replace it. But first of all, we have to make sure that it's the right tank. So yeah, here it is. We got tank checklist index, which is actually what's going to let us check if it's shooting. So we just go ahead and replace that with 1 if it's shooting, and replace it with 0 as soon as it's done shooting. And the way that we know that is because well, actually, I guess what we don't really know yet is a bit interesting to do. Well, what we could do here is simply set this to 0 by default, maybe. Yeah, that actually might not work out very well. Okay, I guess what we could do is, well, when we want to set it to 0 is when the clone dies. So I guess that what I'm gonna have to do. Well, actually, no, we don't gotta set it to 0 when the clone dies. That's my mistake. It's actually only gotta last a certain period of time, like 1.5 seconds. So what I can do is that I can go ahead and I can simply set up a timer, I believe. Well, yeah, that's a bit complicated to do as well because that's got to be a per basis timer. So actually, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to ignore the frickin' laser thing for now. And I will tell you about that in a separate video, not to worry. But for now, I'm just going to try out the enemy laser. Make sure that it works. And here it is, I believe. Okay. Let's spawn this guy in and see what he looks like. Okay, there he is. Okay, so he is shooting me. Oh, he's doing a lot of damage. Yeah, he's doing a heck of a lot of damage. And as you can tell, I'm already dead. So that means that we probably gotta nerf him a bit more and make him do less damage, because that is a ridiculous amount of damage. So yeah, we probably want to set that to like 15 or something. Anyway, so that's how you add a new tank and change the player up and stuff like that. So if you want to do other things like maybe add a new tile, okay, so this one is actually pretty simple. If you want to add a new tile, go into tile, obviously. And now what you actually want to do is that you're going to want to, first of all, probably design the tile. So maybe I want to add a reinforced brick. Alright, so I would go to bricks, and I would just go ahead and I would copy this. And then I would go down after this, which is the last registered thing. You click either duplicate, I believe it's easier. Delete this, paste in the bricks. Now I'm going to add a special little outline to it so that it looks like reinforced bricks. So do this, maybe set it to 5 width, okay. Then we just set this little cool border here. Maybe make it a bit brighter so it doesn't look like completely bad or whatever. And then we can just add like another thing here to make it look like extra reinforced, you know? So we got like a few lines here. Maybe we can fill it in too. Maybe if we make it a bit bigger, then it might work out. Yeah, but I want to make sure that it's not too big either, so maybe it's got to be like this, something. Maybe you can do like a line going from here, and then, you know, it's reinforced bricks or whatever. It might work out. So, reinforced bricks, right? So, reinforced bricks, now we just got to make sure that we can register that in there. So, we just go duplicate this last thing, go to make sure that type is reinforced bricks. Set durability to maybe, the original brick durability is 27, so we can change it up to maybe 48 or 49. Now make sure to change the costume to reinforced bricks. There you go. Okay, so now you've registered it here, but you actually got to make sure that you actually let the player use it in the level editor and that it can be registered by the level storing system. So you go to tile map number and then you just add it to the end of this. You add reinforced bricks. And there you go. And you also got to add it to editor tile palette, which is right here. Editor tile pal. Add it to the end, reinforced bricks, and there you go. So then you do that. Okay, now you start it again. Now you go to level editor, and let's check if it worked. So we go here, and there we go. We see reinforced bricks, so we can place them down, and it will save and load perfectly fine. And then we can break it. And we see it takes a little bit longer to break than the normal bricks. The normal bricks takes a little bit quicker. The reinforced bricks takes a little bit longer. So there you go. That's how you add a new tile. If you want a tile to have like a special effect or property like the spawner, then just add the logic inside tile. As an example, you can look at the spawner code. This is the behavior right here. it checks that if it first of all goes into start as a clone, and it sets up its little variables or whatever. Um, and what it does is that it checks, am I a spawner? Are you editing a level? Then I'm not going to spawn anything by just spamming this to the maximum. And then if you are not editing, then you're going to make sure you got any spawns left. And then you make sure that you actually are in a timer. And then you spawn it in. Then you reset the little thing. That's all you got to do. Pretty simple to do. As you can see here, it spawns a tank by adding its clone ID to this, so that the tank spawner thing, which is an enemy, can actually make sure that it's a spawner that's actually requesting that, and that it can like check what type of a spawner it is and so forth. So for example here, you go up to Q tank spawn tile or whatever, and you see that here it checks if it contains spawner, and if it does, it checks level 3, level 2, and then it spawns a tank depending on that. It sets the type, and then it spawns it. So yeah, um, maybe I mean yeah, I don't really have any ideas for a special tile to add, but you get the gist. So yeah, just make sure that your sprites that they look nice and cool, because that's the most important part of this whole thing. Got to make sure it looks nice and sweet. So you just go ahead, make sure that's scaled down or whatever, and fits there or whatever. And that's definitely a type of brick, that's for sure. Okay, maybe you can take this middle one, spread it out a bit, and then we can change its color maybe to like white. It might look a bit cooler. Yeah, that looks way cooler right there. Yeah, so there you go. Now you got reinforced bricks. And that's pretty much all you gotta do. So, there you go. And that's the whole tutorial for now, but I'll tell you guys later about it more, and there you go. Have a good night or whatever, and I'll see you next time. Good hook.